ghost of Christmas kick your ass!
Oh, yes. Yes.
Hey guys, welcome to Podcast vs. Play episode 29. I'm Carl, and as always I'm joined by a man who you all probably remember as the original Milky Bar kid, but was fired for substance abuse. It's only Dan.
Those Milky Bars sure are Moorish.
And a Milky Bar kid is strong and tough.
He can't get them up his nose quick enough.
I quite like that.
Yeah, you can have that.
I'll write that one down. It's going in the jotter.
Yeah.
First off, how are you, Dan?
I'm fine. I'm fat, but I'm fine.
Yeah, he's just had quite a large meal.
I had quite a dinner, I'll be honest. I did nearly take a picture of it when he messaged me saying how long you're going to be, and just sort of say, it's going to be a while, my friend.
You got it down quite quick.
I did, but I didn't actually finish all of it, which I'm quite good about. But anyway, leftovers for tomorrow.
Lost some man points there, Dan.
A little bit, but I feel like I'm going to have a shit. So.
Fair. We'll wrap this up rather quickly.
Yeah.
What kind of episode would this be without some news, Dan?
A pretty awful one.
Yeah, we basically just do this and then end it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Which some probably appreciate. But let's all just take a minute to just sit down and soak up the news that the Deadpool movie is happening.
Oh yeah.
Now that moment is over. Oh my god.
I know, right?
Oh, so happy.
Well, basically, when we did a shit just in for the Deadpool movie trailer, the leaked, in inverted commas, trailer, and we did sort of have a thought that it was probably just something that was released to test the water. It wasn't necessarily something that was, oh yeah, we just made it for shits and giggles. You know, it was just like, we'll leak it out, see how see how everyone takes it, and we'll judge it off the back of that. You know, if we actually go for it. And people went batshit for it, as we did, and said, make it immediately. You know, it could be amazing. And that's exactly what they've gone and done. Yeah, brilliant.
They, like as Dan just said, basically after the leaked footage made its way across the interweb, they've just gave in and decided to do it. So this makes me think even more that that's exactly what they did. There's no ifs or buts about it. They've leaked it, and basically, like Dan said, tested the waters. So I think we're getting pretty good at calling these things.
I think so. I mean, if it had been like 2 or 3 years before they said, actually, we're going to make this now, then it could have been like, it could have just been, it could have just been something that was leaked by mistake. It's just test footage and blah blah blah. It doesn't mean anything. But the fact that it's happened like 3 or 4 months,
if that.
After, I'm not entirely sure. It's gone quite quickly though, to be honest, this year. So
yeah. I actually think it's about a month and a half, 2 months. Maybe.
I'm going to say about 3 months or so. I can't really remember exactly. But the fact that it's that soon afterwards, that's a long enough time to sort of get a feel for how everyone looked at it and say, yeah, people are going to love this. People are going to go and pay to see this. Yeah. Let's do it.
And with that, we have a full release date of February 12th, 2016, which is just in time for Valentine's Day.
Oh, yes.
Filming hasn't actually started yet. And although it's not confirmed, it's probably safe to assume Ryan Reynolds is going to be attached to the role of Deadpool.
Possibly. There have been sort of unofficial rumbles and rumours that it's not going to be Ryan, it's going to be somebody else. But considering he did the test footage for it, I can't see any reasons to why it wouldn't be.
I can't see why not, and he's pushed for it.
As you would. I mean, if he is actually a fan as he claims to be, then you'd say, people loved it, people love me in it. I'm not being egotistical about it.
He's perfect.
I've had good feedback about it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they'd have to have someone even better.
I'll tell you what, if they don't cast Reynolds and they cast someone else, and it's nowhere near as good as that leaked footage, I am going to hit the fucking roof.
I know, right?
Because I'd just rather them not make it.
Yeah.
Also, it's going to be a 13A, which a lot of people have kicked off about, but the Wolverine was 13A, and they filmed 2 versions. You had the theatrical release, which was just obviously what went to the cinema, and then they had the the home release, like the DVD, the Blu-ray, which had more blood, more gore, a whole scene where Yukio mows down a couple of ninjas with a snow removal machine, plus lots of F-bombs. And to be fair, that leak footage, which we both thought was amazing, that had nothing in it that was R-rated.
No.
And it was perfect.
But, I mean, obviously, everyone in there died.
Yeah, but everyone dies in X-Men. Everyone dies. Everyone dies in everything these days.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's, you know, sort of like neck breaking. It was people just getting knocked unconscious really horribly, car crashes and that sort of stuff, and then that guy gets his head cut off. But there wasn't a drop of blood anywhere.
Exactly.
Which, that's not what Deadpool's about, though, really, is it? I mean, think of how many comics have actually got.
Yeah, but did you watch it? When the first time you watched it, I know we've watched it quite a few times since. Yeah. But the first time you watched it, did you go, "There's no blood in that"?
Probably not, but no. It's you know, the whole action sequence over in about 20 seconds, so it's not really something you can sort of, you know, drink it in.
Tell you something what I'd quite like. You probably would disagree completely, but if obviously it's going to be 13A, if they like beeped out the swearing, but
that could really be funny.
But yeah, but Deadpool can hear it, and then he's like just starts swearing more.
Yeah, it's like, God damn it, get out of my head.
Yeah,
yeah.
And he like reaches out and like pulls the corner of the screen like a comic, and there's like a 13A rated. He's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but brilliant. that would be sort of like, that's the people who are making it saying, we don't want to make it like this, but to sell it we're going to have to. But we're going to make it clear that through the character we're not happy about doing it like this. That would be fine, because they could do that, and that would be brilliant.
I'd love it if they referenced Deadpool from Origins as well.
That'd
be fucking amazing.
I think they would. I think they will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's just like, oh, can you imagine if I just had laser beams that shot out my eyes or something? There'd just be something small. That I reckon there'll be loads of little in-jokes.
Well, they did it in Marvel vs. Capcom, in the video game. And it's like if you play as Deadpool and you beat Wolverine, he says there's quite a few different quotes he says, but one of them, when you beat him,
you see that? That's how you beat Wolverine, people. And you don't even need optic blasts.
That's fine.
And that's
exactly what he's about, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That'd be amazing. But I've got high hopes for it, I must say.
I'd say,
but based on the leaked footage.
Of course, but I mean, if out of, you know, Guardians, which I thought was brilliant, you know, the Avengers, Iron Man, all of those, this is the only one that I can see being brilliant no matter what. You know, I mean, I can say, oh, Man of Steel, it could be shit, it could be fine. The new Batman, could be shit, it could be fine. Dawn of Justice, you know, it could go either way. I don't care. I know this is going to be brilliant.
Yeah. Well, look at the video game. The video game was not amazing, but it was at the same time.
It was the perfect amount of humour.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can sort of forgive the actual flaws in the gameplay and the actual game itself, because it was just, you'd be pissing yourself as you go through it. Exactly. It's just dead funny, because again, it's something that realises what it is, and it's just saying it's just a game, but it's not going to be the best game ever, so we can take the piss out of ourselves and we can have fun with it. And as long as they do that with the film, that's all that anyone can ask for.
What I am surprised with the age rating is, I mean, it's out, it's less than 2 years away, actually February 2016, and it hasn't started filming yet, so obviously I can't see them having a massive budget, which means they could technically go the way fans want them to go, because if it doesn't make as much money, it doesn't matter, because they haven't spent as much as, say, like Days of Future Past.
True.
So,
but that's mainly on sort of the actual actors they have in it. If this is all going to be CGI only, I can imagine in the long run it would probably work out cheaper to do it all in CGI.
I don't think they will, if I'm honest. I think they'll go live action with obviously CGI elements.
True, but then you could say it'd be basically the same as something like Spider-Man, which is a really good mix of CGI.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Action. That's what it'd go like that.
Yeah. It's got its merits, but personally, I know that there's a lot more that you could do with a cartoon or with a CGI film than you ever could with a live-action film, simply for the fact that you just won't be able to get some camera shots, you won't be able to get people to react the right way to whatever's going on, something like that.
You have to think of the budget, though. How much? I mean, the Blur Studios who made the leaked footage, they only had a small budget, and what they made was tremendous. It looked so lifelike.
It did, but think about it. If they're given a 3 or 4 month deadline and 80 grand or whatever to make a 1.5 minute trailer, that's obviously their speciality. That's what they can do, and they've done it time and time and time again, and everything they do looks amazing. But to say, look guys, we're going to give you 50 million and we're going to want your team and we're going to want you to make a 2-hour feature length film, I don't even know if they'd want to do that.
That's what I mean.
Because you'd say, oh, that's not really what we're about, I'm afraid.
Exactly.
You know, we make trailers and we make damn good ones. We don't want to have to water it down and make a feature length film that sort of doesn't live up to the standards that we've got.
Yeah, that's why I think it'll be live action mix CGI. Yeah,
so I mean, as long as they're the ones in charge of doing any CGI work, they can't go wrong, because, you know, I think both me and you can agree that the work they do is just phenomenal. It's leagues ahead of everybody else. Absolutely.
I mean, people always put... I mean, obviously they're not outside of the video game world. They're not very well known. But people always say put Pixar, they're like the top of the chain for animation. And it's...
For films?
It's...
yeah.
No, just animation in general.
But that's relative, though. As is most things, you know, you can't say, oh, they're the best film production studio, you know, because it's just like, well, compared to what? Compared to who? Compared to, you know, what genre doing what? How are they filming it? So to say they're the best animators, you know, all the people that, you know, draw incredible cartoons and anime and stuff, it's just like, well, you know, all their stuff is 10 times better than, you know, say Finding Nemo, visually wise.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can really compare them. But for who I would choose to sit down and say, do you want to do this Deadpool film? Pixar or Blur? I'd be at Blur's front door knocking for hours until the
Sorry,
answer.
mate. We're going with Pixar.
Yeah, fuck Pixar. They can work on The Incredibles too. That's what they can go and do.
No. Do really?
What? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think much of the first one.
I loved the first one.
It was alright. It had its
I absolutely loved it, but it's already confirmed that they're doing the second one.
Fantastic.
I really can't wait for that.
Yeah, but they're also doing a fucking another Nemo.
That doesn't
that
need...
Dory, whatever her name is.
Oh god, yeah, spin-off one. Yeah, I've heard of that, yeah. That's... It's just because... It's like the...
If you're just like tuning in, this is still podcast versus play.
Well, my old job, I'm just so used to sort of things going...
At Pixar.
Down with Disney. No, I worked at the bank and they just didn't shut up about fucking Disney songs and things. So inevitably I'd have to chime in, just be like, shut up, and you're saying it wrong anyway. It wasn't this, it was this. So
saying that though, sorry to join Josh, just reminded me of a funny story. There's a new guy at work who I'd never met before. I was talking to this other guy, and we was talking about Frozen, and he was saying like it's actually a really funny film, and it's pretty good. And I started singing "Let It Go," and this new guy who'd never met before, he's just turned around and he was like, "I'll stop you there, coming over here with you singing, looking like Hugh Jackman." And I was just like, "All right, what's your name, mate? We're gonna be best friends." Obviously, total bollocks. But
yeah, what the fuck?
It brightened up my day.
A little bit.
Basically raped the bastard.
I fucking would as well.
Anyway, I don't even know what it was on about.
Deadpool.
Hosby? Really?
Apparently. Somehow we managed to trans-digress. That's like digressing on a whole different plane, that is. Trans-digression. I might write a theory paper on that and submit it to the University of Cambridge.
It's quite shocking, really, that we actually have affiliates. I don't know why.
They approached us. Clearly, that either goes to show that they have a lot of faith in us, or that they really don't listen to anything we do at all, and they're just trying to make money.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the way it's going.
More than likely.
This episode of Podcast versus Play is brought to you by Zavi.
Isn't this also sponsored by GameSeed?
It's also
Europe's,
yes,
#1 online retailer,
as well as Games 365.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've done our plugs now.
Yeah, news. What other news have we got? What other bits of news? Hit me.
Are you a big fan of Japanese RPGs, Dan?
We both know the answer to that.
Yes is the answer to that.
It's a very severe, harsh, and troublesome no.
Oh, well, I am, Dan, so I don't care.
Well, fuck you then.
Final Fantasy XV, or 15 if you're not Roman, has got a new gameplay video from director Hajime Tabeta, and I really hope I've said his name right. But he showed off some live gameplay during a Nico stream to prove what we saw in the previous trailer wasn't pre-rendered and it is actually in-game graphics, and it does look absolutely phenomenal. Even Dan said it looks good.
Yeah, it looks alright, yeah. It's just that things can look good, but without playing very well. And it's I'm not going to say that it's going to play poorly, it's just not my type of game. So I can appreciate as to how good it looks, but that doesn't mean I have to like it at all.
Well, no, but we said exactly the same with when you was one of the first people in the UK to play a PlayStation 4. You were playing FIFA, and even though it's nowhere near what you would play, you did quite like the graphics on it.
Well, that's the thing, and I can appreciate how much time and effort people put into making their games.
Well,
it doesn't mean that
time and effort and FIFA don't really go together.
Well, people like it, I don't know why. But that's the thing, it's the same with JRPGs. People like it, I don't get it. But that's it. I think what it is, right, there was this one point in time, there was just a turning point where it went from sort of like massive story driven, sort of adventures that you'd go out and you'd meet really cool characters and stuff, to everyone's got the same weird hair, there's stupid J-pop songs on every fucking thing that you do, and everyone flies across the map doing 5 billion hit combos, and you take off 3% of their life, and it's just that sort of stuff that really annoys me. So things like Final Fantasy VII, that's my perfect one, and that's as far as I'm going to go with JRPGs, because it works. It doesn't have to be graphically good, but for what it actually does, it's fine and it's brilliant, and I love it.
I mean I like Final Fantasy 10 onwards hasn't really captured me, but I still enjoyed them. But 7 is 7 and 8 are probably my favourites. 15 does look quite vastly different to what we have had Final Fantasy wise, but what I still like and I hope is still in 15 is that no matter how manic and over the top and stuff the attacks and the fighting seems, it's always very, very incredibly deep. It's not a case of like, let's just smash some fucking buttons and see what happens. You still have to be very tactical about your attacks.
That's why I prefer the older ones, because it was all turn-based, and I don't really like turn-based things as a rule, but for the Final Fantasy series it just worked. Maybe it's because the technology just wasn't there in order to be able to have them running around and attacking, and you could switch between them, which is what you can do with this one. It was, you had to stand there, you took a hit, then you gave one out, and that was fine, and that made sense to me, and it worked when I was a kid, and it still works now, and I like it. But this sort of like Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, sort of runabout, 50 billion really hack and slash games, they just wind me up.
They're not really JRPGs though.
No, but they're just they're in the same ballpark of this whole, you can do 10 billion combos with 40 different swords and guns in your shoes, and just fuck off, the lion.
Dan loves Bayonetta.
It just really winds me up.
Well, on that's all we've got this week.
Yeah, I think we're going
to end on that.
Cool my head for a bit.
Dan's going to need to chill out, eat some more of his Sunday meal.
Oh God, no.
But there will be links in the description to all our news, just to prove that we're not serial liars and this is indeed real news. If you want to keep up with us, as we know you probably do, we're now on Stitcher, so you can download the Stitcher app and listen to us wherever you are. And yet more good news, you can check out our YouTube channel, which is, Dan? I'll tell you.
I always get it wrong, I'm sorry.
YouTube.com/podcast versus player.
That's right. Is that with a VS or a V?
With a VS.
With a VS.
Podcast VS player. That has all our videos on, it has all our podcasts on as well, so you can watch our podcasts if you'd rather. And we always have new stuff coming up, such as Minecraft, DayZ, We've got some more Sims 4 footage, gameplay even.
It might as well be. It looks pretty good. It could be a TV show.
It may. Well, to be fair, I'm surprised no one's picked it up already. It's a stellar series. We're coming up to the penultimate episode of our Pokemon series. I say penultimate, first gym battle.
Yeah, we've still got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's penultimate was the wrong word, really.
Probably, but
it's Pokemon. It's an amazing episode as well.
I don't particularly like it, but it's
not.
Fine.
It's really not. And other than that, that's all we got this week. So
yeah, I mean, obviously feel free to drop us an email, playerspodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet us on the old Twitters at Podcast vs Player. I think
Podcast the Player.
That's the one. They changed.
They did. We've got too many. Also, we've got our EGX feature coming up. James is going to EGX this Saturday coming.
Hooray!
So he'll have a lot of hands-on with Evolve and Alien Isolation and The Order and lots and lots and lots and lots of cool games. Yeah. So we shall get him to get some stuff up for us.
Absolutely, and everyone please do consider James on his trip, and make sure you all send him horrific vibes through the spiritual network, as he's doing something fucking awesome that we just don't get to do.
That we just sit here talking to each other, looking at shit, making up news, making up words.
Might as well do.
Flogging a dead horse.
Brilliant. Well, fucking call it on that then. Why not?
Also, are we telling them about your news, or are we saving that till closer to the time?
Yeah, might as well, because it's only like a couple of weeks away. But basically,
Dan's going to space.
I fucking wish I was. That would be brilliant. But next best thing, it's Destination Star Trek 3 from the 3rd to the 5th of October, London Excel Centre. I will be going.
Dan is on tour with the Enterprise.
Yeah, I might see if I can score a job as a roadie, actually. That'd be pretty cool. But there have been a few last-minute cancellations. Jonathan Frakes, for example, won't be going anymore.
Oh, what?
But you don't even know who he is. Shut up. In his place, however, is a shit-pantingly good replacement. Sir Patrick Stewart is going to be there instead.
Who obviously played Chewbacca
in all of the Star Trek films.
Oh, as if Professor X is going.
I know, right?
Is he going to be in his wheelchair?
Unless he feels a bit tired.
Imagine that if he turned up as Professor X.
That'd be. I think he'd get shot. To be honest.
With a phaser. Just some massive nerd going up to him going. Psoo, psoo.
I tell you what, I did see though. This is probably not super newsworthy, but it was something that really struck me. I was watching Dragon's Den the other day. Did you watch Dragon's Den at all?
Not really. Although I did actually spend an entire holiday away watching it because the weather was that bad, and that's all that was on.
Well, there's like every episode is basically on YouTube through illegal means, of course. And usually whenever I'm on Space Engineers or Minecraft or just sort of messing about, I usually have something that I'm watching on my second screen on YouTube. For the last sort of week or so, for some reason, it's been Dragon's Den. I just love it. It's brilliant. But basically, these guys came on with this magic wand idea. It was like a Harry Potter wand, but it was like a remote control. So you like point it and twist it at like TV, and it will change the channel and your iPod. And well, yeah, I mean this is years ago. So it's already out. But I watched the episode and I thought that's actually a really cool idea. I can see why they gave him the money. So I went on the website and they've done loads more now. They've done Doctor Who's Screwdriver and that. But they've got an original series Star Trek phaser that's a TV remote, and it looks amazing. It looks better than just like props, like prop toys that you'd buy and stuff like that. Models that you assemble. It's 120 quid for this thing.
I've got a remote on my phone. Why would I use a fucking?
Because it's awesome, and it like disassembles and everything, and you get like this proper actual case that like weapons came in on the show. It's just awesome. So that's the sort of thing I'm hoping to be picking up from Destination Star Trek 3 when I go there. But unfortunately, the pictures with Sir Patrick have all sold out. So if you're looking to get a picture with him, you may not be in luck, unfortunately.
But there's also Photoshop.
There is, so I intend to jump him at some point and
smash him to pieces.
Smash his fucking back doors in, that's what I'll do. Anyway,
on that note, on that very risque homoerotic note, thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
I reckon he does. He's there with Mrs. Stewart, and he's just like, "I'll make it so." You would.
Why not? Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.
All right.
Say goodbye, you crazy fool.
Goodbye.
Yes.